Good morning, Bravehearts, and good morning, Garfield, New Jersey. Welcome back to Marv in the Morning, the first episode of December. You want to hear about an adventure? A little bit of a late start on a kind of audio technical jazz, so forgive me for that one. But welcome back, the first episode of December, and today's episode is called A Sense of Adventure. Actually, as I was getting closer and closer to release time, I was thinking, man, maybe I should call it A Hero's Journey or A Podcaster's Journey. That would have been a better time. Maybe I'll rename it later. Yo, what up, Brian? How's it going, bro? Good job with that show last Saturday. That was a really good crowd, really chill event. I dug it, man. You got to do more of those. Got to do more of those, brother. But yeah, welcome back. Once again, the title is A Sense of Adventure, A Podcaster's Journey, and I hope this is all going to be articulated well by me. I hope I can articulate this well enough to make sense. But let's just get to work. Let's get to work over here. So you know the drill. Subscribe, notification bell, thumbs up, all that jazz if you like what you're hearing. Some updates for the studio. Finally got an arcade machine in here, which is like a dream come true for me. Like, listen, I since I was like a kid, a wee little lad, I've always wanted to have an arcade cabinet, an arcade machine, whatever you want to call it. I've always wanted one of those things, and now I got one here. Shout out to Johnny Fraze, the guy builds them. He didn't build this one, but he does build them, and he had one he was getting rid of. He's like, hey, you want this machine? I was gonna sell it or whatever, and I was like, hell yeah, hell yeah. So got that in there, wired up, got all the classic fighting games in there. And then they gave me a Raspberry Pi, which has a whole bunch of emulation on it. And I left the thing on all day yesterday, just let the podcasters do their thing with it. So as soon as Roddy came in, which is the first podcast of Sunday, 10 a.m., he jumps on and starts playing Scott Pilgrim. So I think it's a nice way to, waste time before your show, before you go live or whatnot. You got to give the podcasters something to do while they wait. Or if their guest is late or whatever, take their mind off of, this guy's not going to show up, which happens. You've been watching. This happens often. So, but yeah, I love it. I gotta fix the decals on it. I wanted to say Bravery Arcade, and give it a nice style, like rebrand it, kind of make it look like our own, for sure. So the next bullet point I have here is about Terrence Howard. And me and Will, shout out to Will, we spent yesterday afternoon watching Terrence Howard give a speech at Oxford. This was like 2 years ago, I think he gave this speech. And let me tell you, man, I did not know this man was this deep like that. I did not know he was this deep. So watching him give that lecture, that speech about math, I guess it started off as about being about acting, but then it spiraled into math and how we need to change the way we do math and all that jazz. And it was a lot. It was a lot. The only reason I have him here today to talk about it is because sometimes the prophets come in word forms, and you never know where you're gonna learn something from. And while I'm sitting there and I'm laughing at just the fact that this profoundness is coming out of an actor that kind of has become the butt of everybody's joke over the years. Terrence Howard was like the first actor to get kicked out of Marvel. He was supposed to be War Machine. I think he would have been a better War Machine than Don Cheadle. Don Cheadle's not bad, but I think Terrence Howard just looked like War Machine looked in the comic books. He had the same build and everything. But for sure, I think the main thing I took away from that is just like, you never know where you're going to like learn something from or who. Just because the messenger is kind of not the person you would expect it to be the messenger. It just goes to show, like, you can learn something from anybody. You're in a broken clock is right 2 times a day. And not that he's a broken clock, but a lot of what he said up there seems like just random gibberish. But then he had like a lot of good points. He made a lot of sense about things. Like, so, even if you only took away one good thing from what someone said to you, it still was a valuable conversation. It wasn't a waste of your time if you took away at least one thing that you walk away with that's beneficial to you. then it was worth it. It was worth it. So shout out to Terrence Howard, man. You impressed me, dude. And so shout out to Terrence Howard, man. You impressed me, dude. And I gotta tell you, man. I kind of feel like he is deep down a good actor. I don't think Terrence Howard's a bad actor at all. I think he's chosen some roles that have kind of become him. That Hustle and Flow movie, he has become that character. Unfortunately, for better or for worse, he has become that character, and it's kind of his detriment. But at the same time, that just means he did a great job, right? But yeah, if you ever get the chance, if you have an hour to burn, or if you want to skip through the video, it's an hour-long video too. So, like, me and Will were just skipping through it at first, but then like you can click anywhere on that timeline on YouTube, and you will find some gold. That whole hour is just filled with gold. So, shout out to him. I don't know if I can say it enough, but shout out to him, man. Terrence Howard, bro, like the prophet. And then some updates on what some of the shows I've been watching, and kind of like the inspiration for this episode too, for this title. I watched all of Wednesday. All right, well, maybe not all of it. I have a lot of trouble sitting down and actually watching something, because the minute I try to sit down and watch something like a television show, I'll remember that I have some work I still need to do, or something to take care of, or anything. Think it's a scatterbrained. Like, I guess it comes from running a business or just doing being creative, I guess. But I watched Wednesday from here to there. I caught pieces of each episode. I have enough pieces to assemble the story. I know exactly what happened in the show and everything. Yo, we got Big Daddy Alucard in the chat. What's up, broski? So yeah, Wednesday was it was all right. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was actually, it was pretty good. Let me just say it was pretty good. Before it looks like I didn't like it. I did indeed. I did indeed enjoy it. But I think what actually like blew my mind this weekend, actually watching, I went back and watched the OG Willow movie. And that's what that picture is right there. That's Warwick Davis, who also was in Star Wars. He was one of the Ewoks, those teddy bear looking guys in Return of the Jedi. Shout out to Scarlett. You haven't watched Evangelion, but you watched Wednesday. I haven't watched Evangelion, and I've caught bits and pieces of Wednesday. So I just have enough pieces that I know exactly what happened on the show or whatever, right? But what I was saying about Willow is, like, they have a new show coming out, or it came out already, like the first 2 episodes or whatnot. And something that I noticed, I was like, man, you know what? I have not seen a movie like this in a long time, where there's a distinct and strong sense of adventure. Like, this is a journey this man went on, where he collected like party members. It was like a JRPG. This man went on a mission, like, to put it simply, like a journey, an actual adventure. And you felt the highs and the lows of this adventure, right? If you don't know what the movie's about, essentially, Warwick Davis, he's a little person, and in the movie he plays a little person. He's in a village full of little people. It has like the kind of Lord of the Rings kind of feel to it, but a little more family friendly, like, than Lord of the Rings. But pretty much he finds a baby in the river, and it turns out the baby turns out to be a princess of destiny, who she has this great journey ahead of her in life. So he has to deliver this baby to this castle, but along the way he just meets thieves, rogues, knights that are trying to kill him. There's an evil witch. It's very, very fairy tale-ish, and it kind of reminded me a lot of like how Avatar is, the Last Airbender, not the blue people, but just shows and movies that have that distinct sense of adventure. I think that's what I love about I think fantasy from the 80s in movies, and also cartoons that have just a giant journey where every episode they're moving forward on a path, meeting new people, solving new problems in new lands, new ideas, all that kind of jazz. I really, really dig stuff that has that kind of sense of adventure. And I say all of that to say what I made this episode about, the podcaster's journey. The adventure of a podcaster, the journey, right? So there's this like kind of structure that all movies kind of follow, or all stories in general. This is by Joseph Campbell. It's called The Hero's Journey. And it's just pretty much steps of like what a hero will have to go through to become the hero. To get his prize or achieve his goals, let's just say. Achieve his goals is better said, right? So I thought to myself, you know what? I could take this structure, these bullet points that this Joseph Campbell came up with, and apply it to a podcaster's journey, a journey of a podcaster, a hero's journey, right? And listen, this might be way out there left field, but this is also where I started thinking of Terrence Howard. I was like, what he was saying was kind of all over the place too. But you know what I'm saying? At least if you take away one good thing with this, good thing from this, then I've achieved my goal. That's just my journey there. I watched Joker 2019, had fun with it. I'm here and there with that Joker movie, to be honest with you. I'm here and there with it. It's kind of it's a great movie. It's well done. It's well acted. But I don't know. Something didn't hit for me. I'm still stuck on. I like the Heath Ledger Joker a little more. But I also don't. I don't know. I don't know about giving villains movies before they appear in the heroes movie, if that makes sense. Like they showed us a Joker, but we don't know what Batman looks like in that universe. I thought that Joker would have been great going up against this new Batman, the Robert Pattinson, but I don't know. I could talk about that stuff all day, but that's not the point. So let's put this off. Let's get into the adventure of a podcaster's journey, right? Now, the first point that they have there on the hero's journey is pretty much just the ordinary world. You can kind of think of like Neo in the Matrix, or you can think of Luke Skywalker living in that desert town where it's just the mundane, the ordinary world. As a podcaster, I mean, this is pretty simple enough. This is the life that we live already. And this is the world prior to you becoming a podcaster, or prior to you accepting the role as a podcaster, deciding like, I've listened to many of my peers tell their story, and we kind of all tell it the same way. I've heard Jason say it. I've heard Matt say it. I've heard myself say it. There was this itch inside of us that just made us say, man, I feel like we're meant for more. I feel like there's something else out there for me. I would have never thought to myself that I would be just here, just working this 9 to 5. I mean, nothing wrong with working the 9 to 5, but I always felt like there was more for me. Like I'm destined for bigger things. That's when you were living in the ordinary world. This is your life prior to you deciding to become a podcaster. Someone told me to watch Black Panther, that it may or may not trigger something. Well, I will say this, and just to take a little break from what I'm trying to get to here, I do like that they made Namor of it. Well, I don't know if it's exact because I haven't seen the movie yet, but they kind of took a lot of Aztec culture and symbolism and gave that to Namor, rather than just have him be from straight up Atlantis, which is in the comic books is where he's from. I do like that. I have not seen the movie yet, but if that's what you're getting to there, I think that's a good idea, to be honest with you. I think that character was kind of like nothing, boring, kind of like a character or whatnot. The next step on the hero's journey, bung, the call to adventure. I don't know why I just randomly thought of just deep breathing. I gotta think of Lori whenever I do that. But yes, the call to adventure. Essentially, something happens that makes you say, hey, you gotta get up off your tush and go out there and do something. You can kind of think of this kind of like in Star Wars, going back to Star Wars. I guess Star Wars is probably what I'm going to reference a lot because it kind of follows this list completely. He gets a message from Leia the two droids show up at his house, and he's like, "Hey, I'm looking for Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's my only hope." Or even in the Matrix, Neo gets an email, right? That's I forgot what the email said, or it was just a message from somebody like, "Hey, get out of there. The agents are coming." Something triggers an adventure in your story, right? Something triggers an adventure in your story. And I guess if I were to tie that into my podcasting, my personal life, this is probably the one that's going to be different for everyone. But if this is a podcaster's list, a podcaster's journey, the call to action or the call to adventure would kind of be the reason they got you podcasting. It may vary very much, but let's go with my own. I guess my call to action is when Juan, the creator of Bravery Studios, asked me to become his business partner. That was kind of the call to action when it comes to the podcasting world. As far as maybe just the creative world in general, for me, it would be, I guess, just riding the bus to work with my headphones on and just listening to music and just pondering. Or would that still be the ordinary world? No, that would be the call to action for me, because just that experience of riding the bus every day, listening to like Tribe Called Quest or any type of like music that kind of was inspiring me, and it just seeing the structures of the buildings of Patterson, and I'm like, I gotta do something about the history of Patterson over here. Okay, so this one may vary very, very much with everyone. Yo, what up, Kev? How's it going, bro? The commissioner's in the building. This one might vary a lot. But the call to adventure, at some point in your life, something is going to say to you, hey, take this trip. Become a podcaster. Do this journey. Accept your destiny, your fate, all that jazz. Now, there's the refusal of the call, which I guess this one may vary as well, because some people may just say, hey, I'm doing this all in. I'm going all in already. But the refusal of the call, it doesn't happen often in movies either. Can't think of too many particular moments like that. But I guess the refusal of the call for podcasters would be the doubt. This would be the point where you would be doubting yourself before you accept the call. So I'm going to be a podcaster. I'm going to start a podcast. Why would I refuse to do so? Hey, there's a lot of podcasts out there. How are you going to compete with all of them? Or how am I going to assemble a team and keep them motivated and keep them on schedule? Or how am I going to do all this uploading, editing, all this jazz? Yeah, that's what Bravery Studios is for, baby. But the refusal to call, in most cases of a creative, would definitely be the doubt. That doubt that, hey, I can't pull this off. I guess, and the next step would be meeting the mentor. And I guess in a lot of podcasters' stories, I would be this character. No, let's not get cocky here. You could be anybody. But, especially in movies, you get these mentor characters like Morpheus in The Matrix, Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars. They train the main character, the MC, how to be a hero. How to use his talents. In most cases, this guy's the chosen one who's gonna, who has extraordinary power already within him or her, right? Now, in a podcaster's case, the power is already within you too. If you're a podcaster that wants to tackle sports and that's your forte, you're not going to start a podcast and then go learn about sports. You probably already have that within you, that you know everything you need to know to be able to have a podcast on this topic. It's all already there. I did a podcast on video games. I did not put the carriage before the horse. Definitely I knew about video games already. That's why I started a podcast about it. So the mentor, in this case, I guess it would be someone else who is already podcasting that can kind of teach you the ropes, show you how to get things on Anchor, Buzzsprout, YouTube, all that jazz, right? Use the equipment, which equipment to buy. Hey, listen. This is becoming too easy at this point. Every podcaster has a hero's journey. Listen. And yeah, I guess I would be the mentor for some of these podcasters out here who come to me first time podcasting, don't know how to do it off a can of paint, and I become a member of the team. Uh, Crossing the threshold, and this is the most exciting I think part, and also stressful part too. Crossing the threshold is just essentially getting started. The day one, the day zero, actually, recording your first episode, getting it out there, releasing it, or even in the moment, like with the team, everyone's got headphones on, the lights, the cameras are all around you, and you're starting to feel that anxiety of like, wow, this is really happening, man. That's crossing the threshold. That is essentially, hey, I have escaped the ordinary world, right? Like me, dude, I was working at like a Ruby Tuesday before this, right? Look, I'm not in the ordinary world anymore. I have crossed that threshold. I have become the hero of this story, the main character, the MC, which all of us are. You know, this is the most beautiful part because it's new and it's exciting, and yeah, it does have there is an anxiety within. There's definitely fears and doubts, and you still also maybe not fully accepted. You may still be refusing the call completely, but you know, this is still the most beautiful thing when you get your first episode out, and it's probably not even gonna sound great. You know, if you have a team, are probably gonna be speaking all over each other. But listen, as long as you took that first step and you crossed the threshold, you're in a good place. Marv is a hero. Yeah, thank you, Scarlett. Hey, listen, I guess I'm the mentor in most of the hero's story here, of all the podcasts that record here at Bravery. In my own story, yeah, I think so. I hope I'm a hero. Sure hope so. But I'll tell you, crossing that threshold for me was a beautiful thing. Escaping the ordinary world. And this isn't a shot at anybody who, you know, you work a day job, you have your family, your life, you have everything in check. That's cool too. That is harder than what I do. Right now, I could wake up whenever the jazz I want, which may seem like a benefit to some people, but in other cases, it's like, whoa, I gotta get on my own schedule. I don't have anyone, a boss above me to get me started to just have me start my day. It takes discipline. So I think what other people do is way harder than what I do. But you know, I could tell you this: I'm having fun with it, and that's what kind of matters the most, right? So yeah, crossing the threshold. Test allies and enemies, and you know, you could kind of think of like Luke Skywalker again, and I gotta use other movies before this becomes a Star Wars episode. Yo, let's think of another one over here. Honestly, Rocky. You can think of Rocky in the montage when he's training and he's beating up the frozen meat, you know, that judge is running up the stairs and whatnot. Um, Another one. What did I just watch? I guess any movie where there's a middle portion where the Spider-Man learning how to swing, you know, through the city and whatnot. The trials, the tests, the failures, the allies and the enemies. You know, Spider-Man was, I guess, initially, you know, capturing bank robbers and whatnot, right? But then, the true enemy came out later on, and then he made allies, right? I guess, in the most recent Spider-Man movies, he made allies with like Iron Man. Well, Iron Man kind of works as the mentor too, then, right? I guess the other Avengers, yeah, the other Avengers would work as the allies, and the enemies, of course. You know, we got the Green Goblin, Doctor Octopus, all these other jazz, right? All these other guys out there. So now in the course of podcasting, test allies and enemies. I don't know too much about the enemies. I don't think you can make a lot of enemies in podcasting. Maybe you'll have a rivalry, a little friendly rivalry with another podcast, but I've never heard of someone saying they've met some enemies podcasting. Maybe they piss some people off with some opinions, but there's a lot of tests for sure. And there is a lot of allies you will make. The test is staying motivated every week. Now you're past the threshold. Now the beauty of starting something new may be wearing off a little bit. So, keeping the team motivated, keeping them on schedule, the release schedule for the podcast, releasing everything on time, the allies. Most likely, you're going to find other podcasters that are doing what you're doing, and they may reach out to you or you may reach out to them, but definitely collaborate. This is where you're building your network or your, in a JRPG, your party. So it's always good to have allies and find people who are doing what you're doing, right? That's in every situation. This is why we hear musicians collaborate so much. Exposing their audience to your audience, and your audience to their audience, and all that jazz. It always helps to come together, like the Beatles. Growth and new skills. So I know in my case for sure, just what even doing Marv in the morning, because I kind of got the podcasting jazz mastered out there, but new skills. I don't know. Let me try to think, and I still don't even know if I have acquired new skills here doing this. Let's see. I would say getting things ready. I remember in the beginning when I started doing Marv in the morning, I had a lot of troubleshooting. I had a lot of issues with the camera turning off a lot. No audio some episodes. I learned how to get through those things. I grew. I learned how to use my camera better. I remember this thing used to get out of focus all the time. It's crazy how we're 47 episodes in. It took me to get to episode 25 to actually figure out how to master this thing, this little setup here, which is interesting, right? It's probably something that you don't really think about if you're watching the show now. But yeah, in the beginning, first couple episodes, this setup, there were issues. There were definitely issues that I had to, with time, grow and learn how to get better at doing this. And voila, here we are now. This little TV guy wasn't even here. Actually, there was a donation taker on the screen too in the beginning. But new skills. I guess new skills with the camera, new skills with the microphone, new skills, speaking skills even. I feel like, maybe I should speak too fast in those first 30 episodes. There's definitely skills that have been acquired. In another podcaster's case, it would be speaking skills, especially as a team. Podcasting as a team, you definitely need to not speak over each other. Need to learn how to speak properly to each other, not over each other, not cut people off. These are skills that you will acquire as a podcaster. And I feel like as though I haven't been back to the ordinary world in a long time, but I would imagine that that's a skill you can take with you even to work. Learning how to communicate properly with each other, with other people. Will the person on the other side of that conversation have that same skill? Maybe. Maybe. But yeah, you do definitely acquire new skills in doing a podcasting or doing anything, honestly. Through the trials and tribulations, you get past the trials, you acquire new skills. 100%. Now, this is the climax of the hero's journeys list, right? This is where things start getting wicked, because if we're talking about a movie character or a book character, they have to go through one big, I guess, failure that will define them and make them become who they are truly meant to be. You can say one big failure at some point. The list calls it the death and rebirth. Is it going to happen to you as a podcaster? I mean, it's possible. I haven't reached that point yet. I haven't hit rock bottom to the point where all right, now character development. No, I have not hit that point yet. But let me try to think of a scenario. What scenario or what other podcaster do I know where all hope was lost, and through that giant failure, you came out of it, or this podcaster came out of it even better? I can think of almost like musicians, where a band breaks up and then maybe you think it's over, but then you go solo and then it's oh man, I'm kicking butt on my own over here. I guess in my case, I mean, there definitely situations where the lights would have went off if I didn't grow and change. I guess with the day, we one day I had to hand someone all the equipment in the studio, and it could have been lights out that day. Um, we made it work. I had to step up. I had to become an actual businessman that day and learn how to do this. So yeah, I guess that's the death and rebirth there for sure. But as a podcaster, the only thing I can really think of is like losing your team could be a big one. Like if you are used to doing your podcast on a 4-man team, and let's say the group breaks up, that could be a death and rebirth situation there for sure. Now, if you let's say something happens to you, maybe you lost a hard drive full of dozens of files. Hey, I lost everything. I had every episode recorded already, but I lost it. And man, now I gotta start from square one. Starting from square one, the second go around, after you've acquired all the new skills that you've acquired in podcasting, that could be amazing. That could actually go way better than someone would think. And once you get back to where you were at, you may be grateful that hard drive got destroyed. Even if you lost a couple good golden moments, but it made you stronger. You probably are used to loss, and you probably can say to yourself now, like, hey, it doesn't faze me. maybe. Here's the final ones. There's the revelation. The revelation, I guess in some cases, Obi-Wan Kenobi dies in Star Wars, right? Or Luke finding out that Darth Vader is his father. For podcasting, I mean, this is where it gets a little tricky, right? I guess the revelation in a podcaster's journey would be that threshold, passing that threshold of finding your audience, finally having like a steady number of viewers, listeners that are now your fan base, that are now loyal to the show, to your podcast, right? That would be the final revelation in a podcaster's journey. The final changes, like, yeah, accepting who you are, accepting your destiny as a podcaster, having your audience, having your show be exactly, maybe not exactly, but having it organically become what it's destined to be. These are the final steps in a podcaster's journey. Now, consistent. Yes, consistent. Yes, indeed. So, there's the finally changes, the atonement, and gets gift. Now on the hero's journey, they had the last step is gets gift, and I don't know if this thing needs to be updated, but the thought of a hero's journey, that the reward is just a gift at the end of it, is it's not too kind of materialistic at that point, right? No, I don't think that's a good one for a podcaster to think about. I think the final reward of a podcaster is just to have your podcast grow and continue to grow. There may not even be an end to the hero's journey as a podcaster. I know I'm nowhere near the end of it. So much more to do, so much things to see, and the sense of adventure, the things I'm going to meet, the places I'm going to go to. I'm still loving this life. I don't think I would. I don't know how Marv another timeline lives, but I can't imagine myself doing anything else right now. If I could be anywhere in the world doing anything, I'd be right here doing exactly what I'm doing right now. For sure. For sure. But thank you for those that are listening to me ramble for 30 minutes of time each day. This was fun. This was definitely fun. Just taking these hero moments, taking these moments and applying them to a podcaster's journey, applying a hero's tale to what a podcaster goes through. And this can apply to anything. This is Joseph Campbell coming up with this. It makes sense. Like, you can do this with anything. Why don't I challenge you, whoever you are, and everybody watching or who's watching later, apply this to your own story. Apply the hero's journey to your own story and come back to me. And maybe we can do it together. Maybe I will put a graphic on Instagram or TikTok where people can put on like maybe add a sentence or a couple words after a bullet point, and we can all kind of look at our journeys together. I'm sure many will be similar. I know, like I said it before, listening to other people tell their story, I hear some of the stuff I say sometimes. The boredom, the ordinary world thing, like that. I feel like I've heard that from every podcaster I've ever met. Like, hey, I just feel like I was meant for more. I was living in the ordinary world. So, yeah, maybe I'll put something together for that. That would be pretty cool. But thank you for everybody that watched and listens. And, episode 47, man, we're in December. This started the first week of September, and we're already in December. 47 episodes in. Love everybody that keeps watching every morning. I hope I'm adding value to your life. You guys could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. I appreciate that. I do appreciate it. Mondo appreciate it. Yo, you never ramble. You always speak the truth. The butt must be soft before you eat. Hurrah. Eat your avocados, but eat them when they are mature, Bravehearts. Yes, indeed. Big Daddy Alucard spewing facts over here. And yeah, man. Thanks for everybody rocking with me. 47 episodes in. So maybe when we get to 50, should we do something cool? I don't know. 50 would be Thursday, right? Maybe. 50 episodes would be kind of cool. Maybe we could celebrate live. Let me write that down. Let's do something fun for episode 50. Something fun. If anyone has ideas, message me on any of the socials. What can we do fun live for episode 50? Call-in? We can do call-ins. Maybe that would be cool. We might get some trolls on there, but we'll see. The trolls might be at school. There's a benefit of doing a morning show. Something fun for episode 50. Call-ins wouldn't be a bad idea, though. But yeah, Bravehearts, I'm going to hit that old dusty trail. It's been real. It's been cool. And I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow may be an episode on anime. Don't quote me yet. But I gave a lot of I did a lot of great things. I had a lot of fun speaking on the Batman episode, the Power Rangers episode, all that stuff. I haven't shown anime a lot of love up here yet, so tomorrow I might go down a list of my favorite anime. So we'll see. But all right, Bravehearts. See you, Manana. Stay brave and keep on keeping on.